Weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 24th, 25th of October 2020. Piotr here, this Liteforex Global YouTube channel, and we are preparing for the upcoming week. We are going to discuss euro dollar, we are going to discuss oil, and we are going to discuss gold. Question number one, if euro dollar can break out of the range, we are talking about 117, 118.70. And of course, oil, with the rapidly growing cases when it comes to the coronavirus, and with a little bit of the oversupply when it comes to the oil market. Can we see the breakdown ahead of the election? Can we see much lower than 40? Well, question number three, how low gold will go ahead of the US election? So I'm talking about the upcoming week. So while below 1950, in my opinion, there is a little bit bias to the downside. So without a further delay, let's jump straight and see what we have when it comes to the charts. Okay, let's start with euro dollar monthly chart very quickly. Important thing is where we stop the latest rally month and 2 months ago, and the possible swing high here. So in that case, the high we've seen in August around 1966, in my opinion, that's the last line of the defense for the sellers, 1966. But you know, you shouldn't be surprised, because lately we are talking very often about these levels. So I do expect some supply here, and if I'm correct from the bear's perspective when it comes to the monthly chart, retest of the 115, 114.50 could be in place. On the other hand, if you are a bull, what you wanna see after such a rally and the pullback month ago, you would like to see monthly close, which is going to happen next week. You wanna see the monthly close above the possible swing high, above 1966. That would provide the opportunity for the 1-to-1 and the stop count well above 25 based on the monthly chart. But of course, from that perspective, we have to break through 1966. Where are the buyers? Buyers, of course, around this month low, previous month close. We are talking about the levels close to 117. So overall, that's what we already discussed quite a few times. 117, 118.60, 118.80 plus 1960 from the monthly chart as the possible range, a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, right? Now, where we are from the weekly chart perspective, it's also very interesting, and but we can still confirm this type of the range around 1870, 1880 and 117 over here, taking into the consideration all those upper shadows, as well as what we've seen 2 weeks ago as a retest. So the range here is confirmed. So the buyers are on the dip towards 117, sellers on the rally towards 1860, 1880. We might see extension of that towards 1966, where I do expect increase of the supply. With the close above, we are completely changing the pictures. If that's going to happen, I'm going to make necessary update. Over to the next one, it's a crude oil, and here, well, growing COVID cases. Very interesting from the calendar perspective, because what we are going to get, GDPs around the world. European, we are going to get the US GDP, and well, we are still ahead of the US election, right? So where we are right now, we are trying to hold 35 to the downside on the monthly chart and around 31 to the upside based on the monthly chart. So the bears either trying to make this type of the move as a 1-to-1, all right? In that case, 70 plus could be in place. And there is a smaller possibility if we are going to exclude the lower shadow, and if we are going to take into the consideration just this price, so well, we might see somewhere close to 62. Is it possible? Well, that depends on the market reaction after the US election, because if we are going to get additional stimulus, we might see pump of the out of the thin air. Well, that's gonna be very, very very interesting. On the other hand, from the seller's perspective, well, because of where we are, there is still very narrow range. It's gonna be visible in a second on the smaller time frame, right? Bears are looking for at least levels close to 27, 26. So let's switch lower. Let's switch to the weekly chart. Let's have a look what we have. As I mentioned, very, very narrow and tight range. Okay, that's what we have for quite few weeks already. That's quite interesting. Here we are bouncing. Where we are bouncing? We are bouncing between the lower and higher level of the gap, as you can see. So as long as we are staying here, right, we might see attempt to rally. From the weekly chart perspective, it could be levels to retest some kind of the close to 50. From the weekly chart perspective, to break to the downside, and we might see retest of the 30. All right, so the narrower the range compared to what we discussed a second ago when it comes to the monthly chart. Finally, the daily, it's very, very narrow range. What I would do from that perspective, I would create this type of the line. What I would like to see, the failure. I would like to see attempt to hunt for stop rejection, sell, or I would like to see first attempt to break lower, right? Retest of the bottom of the gap, failure, and retest of the top of that range. That for upcoming week, in my opinion. Gold finally, with plenty of central banks rate decision around. Canadian this week, Bank of Japan, European Central Bank, right, which could influence euro dollar as well, of course. Well, it's gonna be very, very interesting. From the monthly chart perspective, no doubt about it that is 1780 breakout candle, so the low of that towards 1750, that's possible demand, no doubt about it, right? But it's a big but. What if we are going to break through and close below? Then we have like 300, 350 pips or points range. In that case, that could reopen levels towards 1550, 450. Let's have a look what we have on a smaller time frame here on the weekly chart. As you can see, this is untested consolidation ahead of that break, right? So watch out for all those levels close to 1750, a little bit below for the possible demand, right? Sellers, I would say sellers are based on what we've seen 5 weeks ago with this candle over here, right, with this big move to the downside. So if you are a seller, you wanna see, what do you wanna see? You wanna see attempt to break higher through 1950, right, and you wanna see another weekly close below with the upper shadow. That could be short setup with the first target around 1780, 1750. That's it from my side, guys. I'm going to come up each and every day over the course of the week. Let's have a look. Very interesting days ahead with the month end and US election in the background. Have a good one. Take care. Goodbye.